So the first thing I would like to start with is the pitch. You hear me with no high pitch, right? So nobody will escape from the tone. Okay. So let's start this the correct way at the end of the day. I'm almost asleep. So what I'm gonna do is ask you to unplug. Yeah? Unplug your thinking brain. Don't think. I'm gonna show you something for 5 seconds. And I'm gonna ask you later what you see. Okay? Okay? 5 seconds. That's it. So, who saw a rabbit? Interesting. Who saw a duck? Perfect. Message is delivered. Assalamu alaikum. So, this is exactly, we look at one thing and we interpret it in multiple ways. It's one thing, yeah? It's one picture. In our projects, in our life, what we do is we usually look at a certain situation, but we work in action in a totally different way. We either communicate differently or we just go crazy about having conflicts and discussions around the same topic, but looking at it from a different angles. So I'll switch back to the same image for the people who saw the duck to try to see the rabbit, and the other way around. Is it yet not clear?
6 on 9.
Yeah, so again, even with that, when we emphasize on stuff, we're still not clearly identifying a problem or putting our hands on the roots of the problem. Yeah? The reason I brought this is to make sure that the idea of bridging cultures and generations is not just complex, it's actually a very challenging aspect of life, not just project management. So let's talk about how does it impact us, right? Look at the blender in the middle. Yeah, the challenge is that how many nationalities do we have? How many different cultures do we have? 200 plus, right? Combine this 200 plus nationalities with different generations. And when we talk generations, the older generations, the millennials, Gen Zs, Gen X, yeah, and all these combinations. Now put all this in one blender and explore the amount of challenges in communicating, in collaborating, in managing risks, in looking at aspects that nobody can even discover without touching the pain, right? So, how is that important? If we see multiple or different interactions, different views, how is this impacting project management? Let's look at this way first. You're aware of the generation. We all know about generations and the problems that can be caused by generations. Let's tackle the stuff that are maybe utilized or overutilized on a daily basis. Technology. Look at somebody from, no offense to anyone, yeah? Look at somebody from this generation, the baby boomers or Generation X, Gen X. Give them AI tools. Give them the most advanced smart tools and smart applications and stuff, and tell them, guys, we want you to produce stuff using these technologies. They will, it's like, there is always exceptions, there is always room for improvement, but for sure, it's gonna be a no. That's based on studies. It's not my talk, yeah? Now, if you look at the millennials, the Generation Z, Generation Alpha is not yet in the workplace. Yeah, they're still studying and coming into the workplace. Now, another aspect of it is the respect of time. We're talking project management. People, older generations usually respect time and they follow time and order in a way that's more political, not just respectful. Yeah, it's like it's something that is set in stone, dastur in Arabic or in Farsi. But on the other way around, people who are young generations, they do respect time, but they also have some kind of flexibility. They always want to gain more time, ask for more time, enjoy doing stuff in a different fashion. Another aspect would be motivation, and that's my best thing. How do you motivate somebody Gen X in workplace? How do you do that? Somebody? Anybody?
By respect.
Exactly, respect, stability, something that has to do with the what we say in Arabic, sheba. Sheba is the white hair. So we're lucky to have you here. Yeah. So white hair means respect. We know that these personalities have lots of white hair, but also lots of wisdom. So that's kind of we cannot do the other way around and flip the table on them and say, oh, so we're going to be using you for a fun game. Sometimes it happens, but these are exceptional. On the other way around, the Gen Z are motivated by challenges that have never done before. Somebody can be asked to jump from a skyscraper and stuff, where the others will say no, because we'll simply get a heart attack while we... Well, actually, I'm considered in millennials, yeah? And if you tell me to jump, I wouldn't. So I'm in Gen X in terms of mentality. Okay. How about something else, which is risk management? People who are younger generations, especially in projects. Look at now the younger generations, the projects, the startup community is mostly led by younger generations. But who are the players? The older ones, the one who understands and see opportunity, right? Enough talking here, let's go here. Here, I'm not gonna say names of cultures or names of, to avoid any clashes, but I'm gonna say stuff related to what we talked about here. So some of the cultures respect time other than others. Right? I'm sure that we've worked with people who respect time. The punctuality is always followed. Rules are rules in terms of time. But others virtue relationships other than the time. Yeah? And I don't want to mention nationalities in this setting. Yeah? I respect everyone, so no nationality will be spoken of. Another aspect would be the conflict. And because conflict is something that is inevitable in projects. And in project management, some nationalities or some cultures deal with conflict in a way that if somebody from my culture look at it, they will say, guys, why are you not solving the problem? Because these guys work with cues. They might just nod for something or nod this way, and you should assume what is being requested. Others, like some of the Western cultures, will go direct, fix it. This is not the way to be done, yeah? So I said I will not say anything about who's there, but I failed to keep my promise, yeah? Okay. Another thing is decisions. Some cultures also, from a decision-making perspective, look at decisions as individual hunch, punch, whatever you call it, like individualism. Others, collectivism. Yeah, it's like we are getting to a certain decision by collectively getting consensus, not imposing power. I mean, I can go on and on. You can imagine the amount of differences we have in project environments. Why am I saying project environments? Because transformation usually, just like Saudi Arabia, Vision 2030, what happened in UAE for the past 20, 25 years is also being run in different countries around the world, yeah? And you run a project with 6 people and you have 12 nationalities, right? Okay. Any questions? So how can we bridge the cultural gap? So So that's the four thing. I'm a consultant, so we usually run with crazy with numbers and stuff. So how do you bridge the cultural differences in project environments? First of all, time. Okay. Awareness, recognizing that this difference exists. Because the mother of all hiccups is assumptions. If we assume that this person will understand me because I usually talk this way, or I do this thing, or I've used to do it for 20 years this way, this is wrong. Because I'm assuming that they will understand me this way. Somebody coming from a totally different country to me and trying to understand my capacity, the way I talk about information, the way I give decisions, the way I ask for information cannot be assumed. So first step is awareness. Second, after you get aware, or you're aware, you respect that. Respect is not the first way. Yeah, the first wave is you understand that there are differences, you respect those differences, and you start looking at the other aspects. You get to include people. And when I say include people, look at project management. How do you include people in project management, in decision making, in risk management, in brainstorming, taking just ideas, trusting what they do, giving it autonomy, yeah? Not just standing there, I know everything, and you guys just sit there and receive orders. It doesn't work. So inclusivity, and last but not least, is make sure that this is communicated on a daily basis. And this is where I want to show some of the successful factors that I did personally with in my consulting work, and what other companies did in this regard. On the other, let's go. So how do we bridge so the four pillars of bridging the generational aspects? Of course, awareness is there, but there's a concept of mentorship, because we know wise, and what's the opposite of wise? Hitting the wall. Yeah, so you need to look at mentoring these people, or the younger generation, in a way that envisages wisdom. And sometimes, just like what IBM has done, they've done a concept called reverse mentoring. I'm going to cover that in the last bit. So reverse mentor, yes, reverse. Older generation mentoring senior executives. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So mentorship, again, in the middle is inclusivity. Make sure that you include those people. Now, this is something that I need to unfold now. Championing who can do something at the beginning is a win. Meaning, if you know that this generation excels in technology, let them do it. Do not stand as a barrier, yeah, and ask people to, no, stop, I'll understand first, and then, no, make them do it. Let them do it. There's a saying in Arabic that says, أعطي الخبز لخبازه, which means leave it to the expert. And leave it to the expert. Sometimes the expert is not the older generation. Yeah, sometimes an expert in something is a younger generation, and then the blend of inclusivity makes it happen. You keep on learning, because in generations, as you've seen now in our social networking and the social platforms and everything is about trends. Some trends change cultures. Believe me, yeah, and you've probably seen this. They change how people think about certain aspects. They change narratives, right? Last but not least, continue to be flexible. Continue to be flexible, because sometimes, even if you know that this generation is this or is categorized under this, it doesn't mean that it's set in stone. This can change. And by it changing means that there's always room to be more flexible and add value and, absorb from other people and other generations. Now, how is this done by others for success, or by people for success? I'll start by something that I have done personally, which is, as I said, championing people for whether from different cultures, from different generations in certain areas. Now, this is like an open dialogue where we have in a team that, as I said before, 6, 10, 12 people, but we have like this number of nationalities, this number of generations. So what we do is that we unfold, we talk openly about this is what we do best, and then we try to have some voting and stuff, who should do what, and then we leave it as this until we face something different. How does this impact our work in project management? Well, it means that clashes will be less. It means that the risks that were unavoidable are now clear. We're actually avoiding some of the risks. We're actually leaving room for people to speak instead of telling them, guys, okay, now we're going to put you on a training program to listen and listen and listen. No, you just listen to what you have and empower people and make sure that they understand how to go from A to Z. So championing is a great way to do this in project environments. IBM, as I said, did a reverse mentoring activity or a program or an initiative. This is very interesting. This is like, I put senior executives to be mentored by younger generations to do what? To just mentor them in technology use, in stuff that these generations are faster to absorb, faster to understand, and maybe faster to disseminate this information or tell this information. Some of the other aspects might be in championing, like storytelling and stuff that are very important and need some wise act, are put in, not reverse mentoring, are put in the mentoring aspect. خلاص? Yeah, just 1 minute. So Cisco did, again, something that's called multi-generational team workshop, which was they sit multiple generations, they highlight the areas that these generations excel in, and then they split the work accordingly. And last but least, Unilever, I think you've heard about mobility programs, people traveling, a project manager traveling from X country to another country, because they might be expected to manage projects in that country. So they bring them there so that they understand what they're talking about. Not just scream on the phone, assuming that people are or understand what they want. So to make sure that we understand the concept and absorb, I know it's a 20-minute, but I hope a 20-minute exercise, but I want to make sure that you get the message, whether it's a duck or it's a rabbit. We're talking about one thing. It's the goal of the project that we run to achieve. And thank you so much. Do we have any room for questions?
We don't have any room.
Okay, so we'll allow it for our. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
A pleasure حبيبي. شكرا. يعني هذه قال لك تطلي هو يعني أنا طلع أنا التطلي.
شكرا لك.
Thank you.
يعطيك العافية.
You've heard that also?